almost without exception, the students of Aisha. They were, in many cases, related to her by blood or by marriage into her big family. And she trained most of them from the time that they were children. And Aisha has no parallel. As the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, خُذُوا نِصْفَ دِينِكُمْ مِنْ هَذِهِ الْحُمَيْرَاءِ. Take half of your religion from this fair lady, meaning Aisha. She's incredible, and the Muwatta is filled with Aisha. Bukhari and Muslim are filled with Aisha. And she had an opinion. She didn't just have knowledge, she had an opinion. And she was dominant, she was a teacher, she was outspoken. And she is the one who bred the 7 fuqaha, who taught the 7 fuqaha. So in many ways they're a reflection of her. And also Maymuna, also Salama, they had a very conspicuous role in that. I just point this out because of the gender issue. They of course had males also who taught them. So it's not as if women get everything here, but I'm a little bit prejudiced, so I wanted to point this out. Famous women in Islam, okay? These were famous women, and this was a great accomplishment. Now also, in Malik's time, Malik doesn't take from these, but he takes from those who took from them. So the teachers of Malik are other teachers who were all students of the 7 fuqaha. And one of these is RR. Everybody's heard of RR, right? That's supposed to be Rabi'atul Ra'i. I didn't really think of you when I wrote that. That's for me. But this is Rabi'a. Rabi'a was his name. And he was Rabi'a of the sound opinion. He's like Abu Hanifa. Rabi'a has big ideas. He has incredible ideas. And he has dynamic vision. So he was called Rabi'a, who has sound opinion. He's a major teacher of Malik. Ibn Hurmuz was the most important because he's the one that trained Malik as a boy. And Malik was with him for many years. And he was also a great muhaddith. He's the one who taught Malik, learn to say, I don't know. And he used to say that if you're a teacher, you must teach your students, say, I don't know. You've heard how much I've said it tonight, right? I don't ever say it, but we can't do that. We have to say, we have to always have an answer. We'd do a lot better if we said, I don't know. Get off the hook. But in any case, he said, I don't know. And his specialty, though, was not law, it was theological differences. The differences that were between the Kharijites and the Shia and the Sunnis and so forth. And so Malik learned that from him also. Then Nafi' was a major teacher of Imam Malik. Nafi' was one of the greatest, most rigorous scholars of his time. Most people couldn't stand him because he was a Persian actually, who was brought up in Medina, and he was extremely strict, and you had to get everything right, and if you made a mistake, you got the word wrong, he would become very angry, and he might hit you with a stick or whatever. But Imam Malik loved Nafi', and also Imam Malik was so good as a student that Nafi' loved him and loved to have him around. And the golden chain in hadith, which is regarded to be the most authentic chain of transmission, is when Malik tells you something that Nafi' told him that Ibn Umar, the son of Umar, told him that the Prophet said. So that chain, which goes from the Prophet to the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, Ibn Umar, to Nafi', to Malik, that's called the golden chain. For the muhaddith, there's nothing better. Any hadith that is Malik, an Nafi', that an Ibn Umar, an Rasulillah, that's it. You can't have anything better than that. And then probably one of the most important teachers of Malik was Zuhri. And Zuhri was a great scholar. He was the greatest scholar in Medina in his time. And he was a scholar, by the way, who was commissioned to do this, to collect the hadith of the Prophet. This was done at the request of the great Umayyad ruler, who some people called Umar the Second. Umar the second Umar, who is Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. You've all heard of him, right? I won't ask who hasn't, but it might be embarrassing. But Umar ibn Abdul Aziz is the greatest of all of the Umayyads. He's at the end of the 1st century, the beginning of the 2nd century. And he was extremely gifted. He was also very pious. And one of the things that he wanted to do was to see that all of the hadith of the Prophet were collected. Because in the early period, they had been written down by scholars for the use of scholars. They would be memorized, but they would also be written down by each scholar in personal books. But they were never compiled in a big book, like Bukhari or Muslim. This is before the Muwatta also. So there were no compilations of it. And he wanted to get all of the hadith together and to compile it. And Zuhri was the main person in that. And Malik, who was a great scholar of hadith, Malik was regarded as the greatest scholar of hadith of his generation. He's like Bukhari. He's on a par with Bukhari. Malik was the heir of all the hadith that Zuhri collected. So it's not just like Malik had the hadith of Medina. He had actually in his house everything. He had trunks that were filled with all the hadith that Zuhri had collected.